I was on time.
Great. 1 minute late again.
1
Do you
minute
know what I
late.
mean?
Come on, get on it. Jump in.
Right. We are live. Let the viewers build up. We are live. We're live. Right. So before we're live already, but as the viewers build up, what's been going on? Give us a little breakdown of your week. Go on.
Oh, don't even ask me about my week. It's been
that bad, eh?
currently, I keep saying, that they can't be as bad as this week. Then the next week's even worse. We've got a lot on at the moment. It is hard work. We've got a lot of cases at the moment that are quite challenging. The court is being difficult at the moment, really difficult, and it's not just any particular court. The court as a whole is being difficult at the moment. Obviously, we've got a lot going on in terms of the various sort of the projects that we're developing. I've had a development this week in terms of our the way we're going to structure ourselves legally next year. That we've had a bit of development in that this week, which I'll need to talk about on another day. So yeah, it's all going on, and it's at the moment I've just got more plates spinning than a Greek restaurant. There you go. That's a good analogy.
We need to get more people. We need to train up some boys. We need to train up some people, mate. That's what we need. We need some training Mackenzies.
Well, I'll tell you what we're doing. We've got a campaign that launches. I want to say it launches in the second week of December. I may be wrong. It may be the third week. But we've got a campaign that launches across social media looking for existing Mackenzie friends who want to join, and also looking for wannabe Mackenzie friends who want to join either as full-blown or part-time or quite specific. So maybe I just want to do divorce, or maybe I just want to do child matters. So we're across the broad spectrum at the moment. It's all going on. It's all going on.
Yeah, listen, man, sounds interesting. We'll have to have a catch up at some point. Right, guys, welcome to another episode on Disqualified Dads. If I am correct, this is episode 71. We have been live every Sunday since the beginning of last December 2024, and we are now approaching December 2025. We have now put in a solid year's work here. We've been here, we've been present, we're available, we've got your back. We're going to help you get through the family court system. That's what we do here, Sunday nights, 8:30. Welcome to the channel. I am your host, Coach Farouk, and I am joined by my co-host, none other than the best in the game, that family law guy, also known as Mr. Ryan to you lot. Mr. Ryan, welcome.
Good evening, everybody. It is the 9th of November, 2025. And it's special, obviously, because today, for those of us who are aware and who have a respect for this, today is Remembrance Sunday. So today, is a day for remembering the fallen, who obviously gave the ultimate sacrifice for all of us in previous war zones and in previous conflicts. And having a military background as I do, today is incredibly important to me. So I salute anybody and everybody who has done their bit so that those of us can sit here and say what we like and do what we like with the freedom of knowing that we have that power. So that is today. All power and all respect to the fallen.
So was there a 2 or 3 minute silence today or not?
There was 11 o'clock this morning. There was a 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock this morning whilst His Majesty the King Charles III, was at the Cenotaph, obviously in central London, doing the remembrance service. So yeah, I observe the 2-minute silence and have done every year. Well, forever. And I don't need to be, stood with 100 other military men. I don't need to be stood anywhere. In fact, what I do this year is the same as previous years, because I'm in my office as I was today. So I just go and stand in the garden of my office and I just take that 2 minutes just quietly, just in reflection, just to stop for 2 minutes and just contemplate those who have gone before. And obviously this year was particularly poignant because my father was a military man, a long-standing military man, and obviously this year I lost my father this year, so it was particularly poignant this morning.
Yes, guys, I just want to, I mean, at the time, we never spoke about this, but I just want to let everyone know that even during that period when Mr. Ryan was going through, grieving ultimately his father, he still showed up for the fathers that were going through the system, still showed up for all the clients, all the people that were supporting. He showed up ultimately for all the streams, even during that period, bar one. So, a lot of sacrifices has been made even during this period. And also just another reminder of talking about fathers. As you guys know, that my father has had a rough few months in hospital, but he's pulled it off, guys. By some miracle, he is made a full comeback. I mean, I have
Tremendous.
to say, guys, it is literally it's a miracle, mate. I mean, the stuff that he was going through, at times I was like, honestly, inside I was thinking, my God, man, how are we gonna deal with this? How's he gonna get through? He has made, thank God, listen, God, he's made a full recovery, alhamdulillah. So listen, just want to put that out there. So guys, never give up. See, just kept battling, he kept praying, just kept chipping away. But that's what it is. But yeah,
that's tremendous, because as I say, all due with all love to your dad, because he was not in a good place a couple of months ago, and so yeah, that's wonderful news that he's back on his feet and firing on as many cylinders as he cares to.
absolutely. Listen, mate, he's got to live to see his grandkids that he's not currently seeing. I believe that. So
Absolutely,
it's gonna happen, mate. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's good. And also this week, obviously, apart from obviously today being Remembrance Sunday, on Tuesday, which was the 4th, Tuesday was Male Victims of Domestic Abuse Awareness Day. So it's an international day.
Wow.
Where we just take a moment to reflect again on men and on people who have been male victims of domestic abuse around the world, because as we know, it is a matter of fact that male victims of domestic abuse are not regarded, they're not recorded, they're not as recognized as female victims. And that's, I'm not suggesting that one is better than the other. Any victim of domestic abuse should not be in that place. Any victim, be they man, woman, or child, should not be in that place. But Tuesday was the recognition of male victims, and so obviously we put out some stuff on social media talking about male victims of domestic abuse. And I started to use, and I think I used it last year. I'm sure I used it last year, but I started to use it again this year, where we're now using the hashtag reach out and don't check out. And that is about doing exactly that. If you're in a difficult place, then reach out and find some support, be that from family and friends, be that from professional organizations, be that from the police, your doctor, wherever you need to go. But reach out, don't check out.
Absolutely, guys, absolutely. I've been speaking to a few fathers this week myself, connected with a few fathers. Just to put it out there for those that don't know, I started a WhatsApp group, a Disqualified Dads WhatsApp group, after a lot of pressure, because I'm talking to guys all day, every day. They kept saying, "Why don't you have a little group?" So I have got a WhatsApp group. So if anyone wants to join it, let me know. And the key message that I'd say to the group, because with these groups, I was never interested in this thing, because there's always arguments and problems and egos. The key factor here is empathy and compassion here. We're not here to be right or wrong. If I put you in this WhatsApp group, I don't want no dramas. We're here for empathy and compassion. And the people on this group are from all races, all religions, all backgrounds. Ultimately, is people who are going through hard times, they're going through a lot of shit. People like us, people that have walked this path, we're here to support them. So empathy and compassion. If you want to join that group, email me, disqualified.dads@gmail.com, and I'll add you to the group and we'll connect. Right, Mr. Ryan, shall we? Go on.
Let's see who's around. All good. You need to just pop your email address on the chat, just so people know, in terms of being able to track you down for that WhatsApp group, because that's useful. And then we will see who is around. It's been another busy week. I'm sure everybody's had a busy week this week. And then, of course, in the middle of everything else, apart from male domestic abuse victims, apart from Remembrance Sunday, we have, of course, had Bonfire Night as well. We've had, Guy Fawkes, obviously the whole the story of Guy Fawkes trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament, a couple of 100 years ago. And obviously that's been celebrated. And I don't know what it was like in London where you are, chap, but up here in the civilized Midlands where I was, it was like World War III. It was like World War III last night with fireworks going on. It was incredible.
I have to say, it wasn't that bad in London. Normally, I find it like I've seen it a lot worse. Like as in nighttime, like you said, all sorts of stuff going off. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I nodded off about 11:30. I was actually talking to a father for 3 hours yesterday, which I'm going to mention him in a minute. And I need to just give him a little cold word message, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I have spoken. This is a message to that father. I have had a conversation with Mr. Ryan before the start of the stream with the game plan. Operation F is going ahead in full flow because that's why we were 1 minute late. We were discussing it, and he's on board with me. He loves my idea. He thinks it's a brilliant idea. So Operation J, you need to execute. We discussed it last night. If you're listening, and I was deadly serious about Operation J, you need to start executing that. That's the first message out of the way.
Right. Okay. I don't think your operation names are really boring. Come up with better names than that.
Really? No.
Yeah, Operation J and Operation F. That's really boring. Let's have better names than that. I've been dealing with the police this week on an operation, and I can talk about it openly because the operation's been blown wide open. That's how good they are. But they call it Operation Encompass, and I just loved that.
I like that. Okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but they've managed it with such confidentiality that almost everybody in the whole of the area that it was in, and I won't say where it was, the whole of the area that it was in was splashed all over Facebook. So.
Oh my God. So police are having a lot of difficulty these. I've noticed police are getting a bad rap with a lot of shit these days.
Just wasn't impressive. But what I did hear this week, and this is interesting, and I appreciate we keep wandering off, but I don't mind that occasionally. What I did hear this week was that Manchester Police, Greater Manchester Police, who have been in special measures for the last couple of years because they are not very good. This year, they have so far convicted 6,500 shoplifters so far this year.
Really? Is that
now, given that no other police force is the least bit interested in shoplifters, and you can shoplift whatever you like and nobody cares. In Manchester, 6,500 convictions this year for shoplifting.
Wow. Okay. I mean, look, it's something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a start, isn't it? It's a start. I mean, it's the same two blokes, but no, I mean, it's a start.
Oh, hold on. It could be that most of those convictions, they were the police officers, like, don't corrupt, right? Half of them might be police officers themselves, they were internal. What they didn't tell you is 6,000 of the 6.5 were internal.
Yeah. Well, we can't bring into disrepute His Majesty's police officers, so let's not.
No, we can't. No, listen, the guys that I do jiu-jitsu with you, there's a lot of feds in there now.
Well, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I've already got an injury. I've had an injury for 2 weeks. I went wrestling a couple of weeks ago, got an injury list. If I go back there, I might end up with a lot more injuries. So let's not.
Exactly. Yes. True. Good point.
Right. We have Alpha 101. Now, that's a new name. Hi, Alpha. Whoever you are, we're here every Sunday, 8:30. As you've already seen, it's highly entertaining. It's positive. It's uplifting. And we're about to get to the technical information. So dial in 8:30 every Sunday. Good to see you. Take heat easy. Good evening. You are both the people's champion. I agree, bro. We are absolutely the people's champion. Definitely. There's no doubt about that. This man is spitting facts right there. Damn. It's a great start to the show. Oh, look, bloody court-related question. What's wrong with these people? Do you know what I mean?
There we go.
Right, Mr. S. If I'm made to pay the mortgage as an order and I can get a payment arrangement or holiday, is it considered as a breach? I'm presuming that's what he's asking.
Okay, so let's explain this. So sometimes if you're in financial proceedings, as part of those financial proceedings, you or indeed the other party may be instructed in a court order to ensure that the mortgages continue to be paid. And the reason the court does that is in order to ensure that the house is protected because somebody is paying the mortgage. If you go off to your mortgage provider and you secure yourself an advantageous position, i.e. you secure a payment holiday, so you're not paying anything at all, or you secure perhaps interest-only payments, or you secure reduced payments, whatever, that is to your advantage. You are still fulfilling that order because that order says the mortgage has to be satisfied. You are satisfying the mortgage by way of a special arrangement between you and the mortgage lender. There are no issues here.
Okay, let me ask a question on the back of this here, because this is actually quite interesting. What if the father, what if the whoever the person is says, I say, right, you know what? There's an order there. They can't do nothing to when orders are breached. In some cases, they don't really do anything. You say, screw it, I've given up. I don't really care. I'm losing it. I'm losing a hell of a lot anyway. I'll just let it go, and you stop paying. What can they do?
As we know full well, as we say time and time again, there's not a great deal they can do. You come back into court, they tell you you're a naughty boy. You know, the issue there in terms of not paying the mortgage, obviously, is running the risk of putting the house at risk, or putting the property at risk. But there's very little the court can do. They drag you back in and tell you you're a naughty boy, but that's about it.
So if you genuinely got to the point you think, I'm losing a shitload anyway, screw it, I'm doing a kamikaze, and you do that to scare the other side or to help facilitate them having a change of position to accommodate you a little more so you're more motivated to pay, would that be a strategic step to maybe take in some cases?
There are always situations where one party or another, doesn't matter which side of the fence we're on, whether one party or the another makes what appears to be a fairly rash decision, what appears to be a fairly, using your phrase, kamikaze decision, or an erratic decision. If that's part of the game, that's part of the game. People make bizarre decisions sometimes that they believe are in the best interest of their case. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're very clever, sometimes they're not, and they're a bit of a disaster. But it's your choice to make.
Absolutely. Guys, take a note of that one. I think sometimes strategically you have to go to the edge. Do you know what I mean? Extreme action for extreme results. Right, here we go. From Mr. S. Good evening, top guys, looking sharp and young. I know, thank you.
I think it's a reference to myself, really, but
I agree, Mr. S. Thank you.
It's a shame that he's only focused his comments on me. Really, that's quite one-sided.
I think it's very clear. Looking sharp and young. I mean, come on, let's behave here. Come on, man.
Mate, behind the beard and the glasses, we can't see anything. We can't see anything.
Look at the blend. Look at the blend. Let me show you the blend nice, today.
Oh, nice work.
I did it myself. Look at that.
Nice grooming. Nice grooming. Well done.
Yeah, you need to make it. I was going to actually have a word with you about it. You got to show up sharp to these strings, bro. You can't just rock up how you are. You can't just rock up.
Listen, the fact that I rock up is a plus.
Right, Mr. Hungry Hippo. Hi lads, do you think there is a specific age in a child where it is best to vary the order, taking into consideration child's wishes and potential ex's alienation, trying to strategize the future? Cheers as always, lads. Right, let's go back to the question. Right, what do you think?
Right, do I think there is a specific age in a child where it's best to vary the order, taking into consideration their wishes and potential alienation? I'll answer that question in a slightly different way, because I think there is an age where you are too late to vary an order. And that is when your children are hitting 13, 14 years old. They've got one hand on the outdoor as far as the court is concerned. The court will be using a phrase at that point that your children are going to vote with their feet. So your children are going to do what they want, regardless of what it is that this court directs or mother and father want. So I think that kind of answers your question in that at that point, they're too old. Where is the specific age where I think you can pursue a child and it's quite positive? I think the sweet spot, and I hate to use that phrase in relation to children, but I will anyway. I think the sweet spot is probably 8 or 9 years old. Younger than that, and the court is quite nervous about children, and I tend to be quite pro-mum because they think the children are quite young and they need their mum. older than that, and obviously you're heading towards the outdoor. So it's that point, sort of 8, 9 years old. That's the point where I think it's a good time for you to make a play in terms of your children.
Okay, Mr. Hungry Hippo, hope that answers the question, and you are welcome. Right, Mr. S, have you seen supervised contact being regressed after fact find? How often does that happen? This is a good question, actually.
It is a good question. Have I seen it happen? Yes. What that means is, just for clarity for everybody, it means that a fact find takes place. Leading into the fact find, a parent might well have contact with their child in a contact centre, as in this instance, supervised contact. Fact find takes place and a number of findings are made. The court then immediately decides that suddenly the parent who the day before the fact find was quite happy to have supervised contact and the court was quite content for them to do so, suddenly that parent becomes a risk. And the court has to evaluate that risk. And so they do run the risk of having their contact suspended, stopped altogether, and possibly reduced or regressed back to indirect contact whilst the court considers its position and essentially carries out a risk assessment.
Hope that answers the question, Mr. S. Right, if I'm correct, we have Miss Noel back again with us. Hello, I'm submitting my relocation application in January. Do I need to include everything now, like photos of the house, school details, job info, or is that meant to be provided later?
Okie doke. Hi, Noel. Nice to see you. It's important that if you make this application, because you are asking the court to allow you to relocate to somewhere else, and obviously move the children away from the other parent. So your application needs to be pretty robust. Apart from having some damn good reasons as to why it is the court should consider it, and those reasons all have to revolve around the fact that it's in the best interest of the children, you have to provide as much information as you can. Now, bear in mind, and I say this to anybody, bear in mind that obviously I surmise you do not particularly want to advertise your new location. So whilst producing photographs of the house is perhaps useful, or the home that you intend the children to have is perhaps useful, but obviously you don't want to give away what the address is. Equally so, school details. I wouldn't put school details in your opening application because, again, obviously you're trying to pursue some confidentiality. And this is not me in any way supporting a single mother. I'm just talking about how this operation takes place. You just need to let the court know that you have secured school places. What I would say is that you advise the court where the education authority is. So you say it's Warwickshire Education Authority or Yorkshire Education Authority or East London or wherever it might be. So you advise them where the education authority is. They do need to know how it is you intend to support the children. And so, yes, you do need to provide some information, but obviously not the name of your employer, because, again, that locks you down. So as much information as you can, but obviously you need to safeguard your position. There will be a point in time, and we obviously don't know the details of your case. I know you've intimated them to us over the weeks. There will be a point in time where the other parent is entitled to know where the children are. But at this instance, I surmise you are doing this in order to safeguard the children. So that is the information you need to provide.
No, I hope that answers the question, and stay safe. And if you need anything else, obviously, just give us a shout, join the stream. You're always welcome. Right, Mr. M. Oh yeah, before we ask this question, before I highlight this question, guys, there's 16 of you watching live, 16 to 20 fluctuating. Please hit the like button. Also, please share this link for anyone that you think may need this information or who may find this stream useful. So share the link, like, subscribe, and share. Right, Mr. M, I have a child arrangement order, but my ex lived over an hour away when it was done. Now she has moved back to the same city. Problem is my son goes to autistic school an hour away. School transport requires my ex to go in taxi there and back. Is it worth me going back to court to try get weekdays? I don't get school transport. I can't spend 4 hours a day traveling to school because of work, but my ex lives 15 minutes from me. If she still does school run, it is worth going back to court to say I can collect from my ex.
All of that really boils down to the nature of your relationship with your ex, doesn't it? If you've got a very convivial relationship, a cooperative relationship, a positive co-parenting relationship, then anything is possible. Your comment about should you go back to court? Well, given that you've answered your own question really by saying that you haven't got the time to do the travelling to and from the school, the special needs school, so why would you go back to court to secure that position? I think what is more sensible, given that your child and your ex are now living much closer to you, which is great, and I surmise that they haven't done that just completely off randomly. There must be some logic to it, and I trust that logic is in order for the child to be closer to you, which would be wonderful. I would suggest it's a conversation with your ex, isn't it, with the co-parents, to say, how is it that I can get more time with the child, recognizing the constraints that we both have.
I hope that answers the question, Mr. M. And if you're new to the channel, we're here every Sunday, 8:30. Join the stream. We're here to provide any support, emotional, mental, technical support to help you get through the system. So, tune in. Mr. S, in a fact-find hearing, it is true that the estranged parents' allegations are not really considered, as the fact-finder is trying to find out if the parent only can have contact. Hold on, read that again. Does that make sense?
Right. Okay. Let us tackle this issue. In a fact find, it is normal that one parent releases a schedule of allegations against the other. Occasionally, not every time, but occasionally the other parent, i.e. the other side of this fence, releases a counter schedule of allegations against the other parent. So everybody is arguing and alleging everything against everybody else. When you get into court, here is the reality of that situation. And this is from my experience, and you will get a different opinion on this from somebody else. In my experience, the parent who has the children, their allegations carry more weight than the parent who does not. So the resident parent, their allegations tend to given plenty of airtime, plenty of court time, and the counter allegations of the other party, less so. That has nothing to do with how serious those allegations are. So the non-resident parent could be making some incredibly serious allegations, but because they are non-resident, and because the court is driving towards trying to understand the welfare determination for these children, they do tend to focus on the parent who has the children. Is that fair? No, it's not. Is that proportionate? No, it's not. Is that real? Yes, it is.
That's the game, guys, and this is the point. This is the game, as we mentioned earlier, and you have to approach it strategically. This is what I'm saying. So, and just remember that and understand that. And do not get too focused on what is fair and what is not, what is proportionate and what is not, how biased it is. If you get too fixated on that, it's sucking up energy. It's sucking up your belief and positivity and putting you into a state of despair. Focus on what you can control. Focus on what you can do. Focus on the facts of your case. Best present yourself and just put the odds in your favor in the areas that you can control. Remember that. Mr. S, just a clarification. How can the court allow someone who has contact yesterday and suddenly not allowed just because of the fact find? Could you explain why that happened in your example?
I can. What it's a shift in the risk dynamic. This is in criminal court, they refer to this as bail and board. So I'll use the criminal court example. Somebody's on bail, so they're out and about, living their life, having a wonderful time, and perhaps they're accused of a GBH, for argument's sake, grievous bodily harm. So they're out living their life, having a tremendous time. They then go into court and they have the court trial, and the court trial finds them guilty of bodily harm. Suddenly the risk dynamic changes, because now they are seen to be a risk to society, where they weren't before the hearing started, because they were out on bail. That analogy is what happens in family court. We have now established that one party is a risk to these children, and consequently the court has to take a decision as to whether any contact arrangement that was ongoing prior to the fact find starting should be allowed to continue, and whether it's proportionate, whether it is safe for that to carry on, or whether it should be suspended pending an assessment. So in terms of the example that I gave, that wasn't a particular example. That has just happened. That has happened numerous times, where the court has said, we kind of just need to stop this now until such times as we carry out an assessment to work out what is in the best interest of these children. My argument will always be, well, what was in the best interest of these children is what was happening yesterday when they were seeing their dad or their mum. That was in their best interests. What we know now is no more than we knew yesterday. What this man or this woman is today is no different from what they were yesterday. So the risk is no greater now than it was yesterday. The only difference is we're now aware of the risk. We've now highlighted the risk. We've now written the risk down, but it was still there yesterday. So it is an issue, and I accept why the court has to do it. I appreciate why they have to do it. I don't think it's always proportionate. Unfortunately, you will often end up with sensible judges, as I have done on many, many occasions, where a judge has said, I'm happy the contact to continue whilst we just decide what we're going to do next.
Okay, hope that answers the question. Right, Mr. Keeley, welcome back. I've sent my statement too early in
Carry on.
I've sent my statement too early and it needs updating before sending to Cafcass. Should I make another updated statement or submit a separate document?
If you want to make amendments to your statement, if you want to make additions to your statement, what I always suggest is you take the original statement that you've already submitted, you make whatever amendments you need to make to it. If you are removing things from your statement because you've now changed your position, then rather than just sort of remove them and they're gone, if you just rule through them with a note on it to say, I've now withdrawn this position, I've withdrawn this statement, I've withdrawn this comment, because then the court gets a very comprehensive statement from you. Submit it back into the court with a covering note that just says, I've updated, submit it to Cafcass on the same premise. Remember to submit to the other side because they need fair opportunity to see, and all will be good.
Perfect. Right, Mr. Keeley, I will be in contact with you guys soon to see how I can help. Keep up the great work. Yeah, appreciate that, Mr. Keeley. In the meantime, like, subscribe, follow, and share. Send a link to the channel to those who may need it. And also subscribe to That Family Law Guy on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And we appreciate your support. Mr. Alpha, does the court system recognize that it is highly off-putting people, especially men, into getting married? I don't think they recognize it all.
No,
I think they're so out of touch. I don't think they generally know what is going out there in society.
I think, to be fair, I'm not going to blame the court system actually for the fact that there is a general malaise about getting married from men and women. I'm not going to blame the court system for that, because I don't think it's the court system's fault. I think it is a change in society. I think we, as human beings, particularly in this country, are becoming far more disposable about our assets, and we regard the relationship that we enter into as expendable, disposable. If it's not working, it goes, and we'll replace it with another one. And I think that is what is off-putting people from getting married. Because I think people are saying, well, I don't really want to get married because that's just going to lock me in. And frankly, I'm not quite sure I'm going to still be here in 5, 10, 15 years' time. I'm going to have moved on. So I think that is probably what is impacting on the decline. And there is a decline, a steady decline. In people getting married, and the issue that presents the court, just sort of bringing it back full circle, the issue that presents the court is now having to consider, obviously, that numerous people are turning up at its door to argue about their finances, and they're not married. And so the court, and I think I touched on this last week, maybe the week before, but so the court is now having to consider whether there should be some changes in the law in order that people who are not married but are in a committed relationship, or were in a committed relationship where they had a house together and they had children together and blah blah blah, should be conducted and regarded by the court in the same way as those people who are married. Because it's disproportionate at the moment. That the only difference between two couples, one couple have got 2 children, a house between them, a couple of cars between them, and now they've decided they don't want to do that anymore. They're not married. This couple over here, 2 children, house between them, couple of cars between them, now they've decided they don't want to do that anymore. They are married. The only difference between them is that religious ceremony or that civil ceremony. That is the only difference. And the court is now sort of saying, well, maybe that difference is not broad enough for us to warrant any difference between them anymore.
Very scary times. Yeah, listen. That's why men are scared and they're getting put off. I mean, let's be honest, this is a subject all on its own to discuss the position where we are now in society, as a society. It's affecting all communities and cultures. Divorce is on the high globally. But the thing is, Mr. Ryan, you got to accept that the global statistics that I've heard and seen over and over again is that 70 to 80% of the women are initiating the divorces. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. That's the other scary thing. And the laws, but the thing is, so the problem now is the societal position that the man will go to work and provide, and a lot of women still don't accept 50-50 of the fact that they have to chip in. So they're thinking, okay, well, I'll chip in, I'll do all of this. But they're initiating the divorce, and then we lose potentially the kids, the home, and our life's work. It seems to favor, obviously, the fair agenda more, the courts are. So men are now waking up to this and thinking, well, what is in it for me? Why am I doing all this sacrifice? Men are waking up from this conditioning that you're a man, you have to work, it's your job to pro. They're like, why am I working? Like, what am I doing it for? What is in it for me? And that's the sort of rhetoric that's coming out.
Yeah, I think what we need to embrace in this country, and we've not so far, and it is in other parts of the Western world, I'll use that phrase, is prenups. We're not big on prenups in this country. We find them quite offensive. We find it quite offensive that in the early stages, in the first blooms of your relationship, you suddenly start talking about how it is we're going to carve up the pot. But it's an incredibly sensible thing to do. An incredibly sensible thing to do. And so, I'm a big fan of prenups. I'm a big fan of, whilst you are loved up and thoroughly enjoying each other's company and not being able to see anything beyond the fact that you're going to spend the rest of your lives together, I think that is a perfect time to sit down and have the very civilized conversation about what happens if this does go wrong. What do we do to make sure that we are both treated fairly in terms of our ability to get on with our lives? That is the time to do it. I absolutely encourage everybody to entertain that. I had a young couple come to see me the other day, out of the blue, to be fair. I mean, it was quite odd because they hadn't booked an appointment. They just turned up and knocked on the door. It was interesting. But young couple, 18 years old, been seeing each other, boyfriend, girlfriend, for just over a year. And they wanted to have a relationship agreement. It wasn't a prenup, really. It was a relationship agreement that covered such issues as what happens in terms of money, who pays for stuff, What happens because they rent? So who pays the rent? Who pays the gas bill? What is our view on being faithful to each other? And it was a very interesting conversation. It was quite a refreshing conversation, given that they're only 18.
Yeah.
But that's where we're going now. So, people need to start to. There's nothing wrong with marriage. The Institute of Marriage, should you wish to pursue it, regardless of which faith you're from, whether you're pursuing an Islamic marriage or a Church of England marriage or a Catholic marriage or wherever you're going with it, it's still a beautiful institute. Just protect yourself on the way in.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, I think prenups in this country, it's not talked about enough, not covered enough, it's not done. Plus, if you're all loved up and then suddenly a conversation that prenup comes up, it's a bit of an awkward, I suppose. It's a bit of a passion killer.
But it's going
to
easier to talk about it when you're loved up than if you hate each other.
Absolutely. And look, I'm all up for prenups unless he's loaded, then I'm against it. Period.
Right.
I'm up for it unless I meet a woman who's absolutely minted, which I may in my journey and in my ascendance to where I'm elevating to. I may meet women with what I'm looking for, high flying women. And if they are absolutely loaded, then I'm against prenup. You will hear me on the channel then how disgusting they are. But otherwise, I'm all for it. I'm all for prenup. Until that day, I'm down with prenups. Period.
Right.
And by the way, I just want to highlight again, just in case there are any women watching, I'm all for marriage. I think marriage is a beautiful thing. I think a relationship, I think it's a beautiful thing. Because someone turned around and said the other day, they're talking about marriage and like, oh, don't speak to him, he's against it. I said, why would I be against it? Why would you say that? Why would you assume that I am against it? I'm just saying, when it goes wrong, it's horrible. So I'm all for it. I'm just saying, just get it right. Don't make the same mistakes that some of us did. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we absolutely do not on this clinic that we conduct ourselves in on a Sunday night. We are not damning marriage. We're not damning relationships in any way whatsoever. What we're looking to do is ensure that people go in with their eyes open.
Yes.
Just go in with your eyes open. That's all we're asking. I think if you get yourself into a committed relationship, be you married or otherwise, it's a wonderful thing. And you can have umpteen moments of intense happiness, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just keep your eyes open.
Listen, we weren't meant to be alone. We need companionship, straight up.
Well, as human beings, we're not designed to be alone. We are pack animals, and we're designed to work in partnership with people. That's how we are. So it is quite unnatural, albeit there is a massive upturn in single people around the world. Massive upturn, and I find that quite sad. I find that quite sad. And a lot of that is driven from suspicion of their fellow man, and people are losing the ability to trust each other. And that's really quite sad. That's really quite sad.
Yes. Right, let's go back to some court business. Have you been to a fact find where not all allegations are tested? I would say yes.
Lots and lots of occasions. Fact finds will start and the judge will say, well, I noticed the fact I've got 10 allegations or 15 allegations or 8 allegations. I've looked at them. I don't believe I need to test all of these allegations. I believe I will get what I want if I merely test 2 of them, 6 of them, 8 of them, whatever the number is. That is a very, very normal start to a very, very normal fact find, because all the judge is looking to do, the point of a fact find is one, to determine whether allegations are true, but they don't need to determine everyone. They are looking to determine that there is a pattern of behavior from one side or the other. That is all they're looking to determine. And if they can determine that by testing 2 allegations instead of 22, they will. There's issue number 1. Issue number 2 is they are trying to establish what the welfare determination of the child is. So often they will look at the allegations and say, well, I only really need to test those which are going to potentially impact on this child. So I don't care if 15 years ago, which is 10 years before these children were born, the two of you had a fight involving, baked beans and fried eggs. I couldn't care less. It has no impact on these children. They weren't even on God's earth. So we're not testing it. So yes, there is a degree on the part of the judge. There is a degree of proportionality.
Yeah, interesting. Baked beans and fried eggs. I thought you were going to use the pasta example or the bag of flour or rice, but all right, we'll use baked beans and eggs now. So, all right.
I went with the breakfast example. I could have gone with pasta. You're right. I could have gone with pasta, but I went with the breakfast example.
No, you normally do. You normally say it's a bag of rice at the back of the head or the pasta or something like that. All right.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, as I say, he threw it at her, but it went past her. Sorry, everyone.
God, I just want to apologise on behalf. I just want to apologise for that. Yes.
I just want to apologise. Farouk does not write my material.
Damn. Right, Mr. Alpha. How does one protect oneself in a system where one party is incentivized to break the relationship, especially with false allegations? Right. I'm gonna just touch on this right there, because when I talk to guys on a one-to-one, I speak to a lot of guys, and what I say to you is this, Mr. Alpha, right here. Like, you have to, let me just try and get my words. I'll just touch on this. When you go through, family court, you go through the trauma of losing your kids and all of that, it gives you a moment to reflect upon yourself. And you have to understand the results in your life ultimately are a reflection of who you are in some aspect or other, what you think, what frequency you give off, what energy you give off, how you vibrate, what energy people get off of you. So you got to really look at yourself and think, what changes do I need to make within me in who I become? And in life, ultimately, if you take yourself seriously and start investing into yourself, start unearthing all of your potential, becoming the best version of yourself, you become a person that the partner that is with you, they won't want to leave you. They won't be incentivized. They'll be incentivized to stay with you because they want to be with you. You need to become a person that people want to be around. You want to become the prize. This is what I'm trying to say. You don't want to put your happiness, your validation, you don't want to make your mission as in the missus or the woman, like external. You make yourself your mission. You make yourself happy. You validate yourself, and then you will attract the right things to you. So I just want to touch on that. I'm getting my words a bit mixed up, but yeah, I'm just going to give you a little insight into that. Work on you, make yourself important, and then you will attract the right things to you in the end. Do you know what I mean? Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Ryan?
No, not particularly. I think it's quite sad if we have this outlook on life. That at every turn there is somebody, be it an institution or an individual, who is trying to break us. That's quite a terrible outlook on life, really. And I'm not suggesting you're wrong, but I'm saying that if we're going to get through every day, and then we're going back to that whole reach out and don't check out thing. If you're going to get through every day, and if you're going to bother wanting to go into tomorrow, you need to find something more positive about how it is that you conduct your outlook on life than what you've presented there.
Yes, and what you presented represents what you're thinking. What you think, and it's the frequency you're projecting, that fear, that paranoia. This is what I'm trying to say. You change what you consume, what you think, and then you change who you become eventually. It changes your subconscious programming. But you got to start controlling your inputs. If you watch bad news every day, you'll always be miserable. That's what I'm trying to say. And to live like this, it goes back to my point, to live with this fear. I'm going to say something. There are good women out there. There are decent people out there. Do not assume that everything is bad. They're all bad. There are decent people out there, because if that's what you believe, that's what you're manifesting. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Take the lessons. Take what you've learned so far. Learn the lessons. You're a lot wiser now. Now you can make better decisions and better choices. Now you'll see red flags that you didn't see before. So take the lessons, take the experience, and grow from this. Elevate yourself from this. Use this as a springboard to elevate to bigger and better things. That's what I'll say on this.
Yeah. Reflect. We'll pick up on pruning ups in a minute, but you need to reflect on the statistics. There are currently something in the region of 300,000 people engaged in cases in the family court system, something of that nature. And of those 300,000 people, obviously they all have reason to dislike each other. But there are 66 million people in this country. That implies that there are 65,666,000 people who are actually okay. You just need to find them.
Yes, that's a very good. I think that puts it into context and gives you some perspective. And remember something. One more thing I'll add to this before we move on now. Yeah, what you think about, or when you have a certain belief, if you want to find bad in something, you will see in anything. You see what I'm saying? If you have a certain belief, you will see what you need to see to validate that belief. That's what I'm trying to say. If you always see good in people, you'll see good in everyone. If you wanted to really criticize me and Mr. Ryan, now you could, if you really wanted to criticize us and tell us where we go wrong, you'll find it. That's what you're looking for. You find good or bad in anything. It depends on the lens that you are looking at it from. Is the glass half full? Is it half empty? Anyway, I'll say no more on the coaching aspect of it. Right. Does or can prenup cover children contact? No.
Formally, you might struggle. Having said that, your prenup, given that you're writing it, invariably, but make sure you write it and it's legally sound. It can cover almost anything. How enforceable a child arrangement order that you built into a prenup is going to be is an arguable point. But you can certainly build in some mechanism. You can build in, as two people, we recognize the fact that the children are the most important. As two people, we will do our best endeavor to ensure that, we conduct ourselves respectfully in respect of the children. As two people, we will both recognize the value of the other as a parent. You can build all those into a prenup. But your opportunity to build in, I'm going to see him on a Wednesday, you'll probably struggle to get that enforceable.
All right, guys, let's move along. Mr. Man being caught and was given contact, etc. Final hearing. Mum applied to extend non-mol. I contested hearing. Now here heading to fact find. We use handover, serve, family, WhatsApp. Can outcome affect our child arrangement? Good question.
Okay, this is an interesting one because I'm just reading between the lines. So are you telling us that you've had the final hearing, but essentially it failed because mother tried to extend the non-molestation? And when you say you're heading towards a fact find, are you heading towards a fact find? And I apologize, you're going to need to give some answers here. Are you heading towards a fact find in relation to the non-molestation, in which case it's a contested hearing rather than a fact find? Or are you heading towards a fact find because the judge decided that he wanted to reopen or further open the child proceeding? So just give us a bit of a clue on that before I comment. It often happens. Whilst we're waiting for that, I will say this. It often happens. Often is perhaps too strong a word. Probably 1 in 30 or 40 times where a court heads towards a final hearing. And when they reach the final hearing, they suddenly realize on the day that actually we're probably not ready for this to be a final hearing. Something has happened. There's been a change in circumstance. There's been a change in the dynamic whereby we need to do something else before we can make a final determination about these children. So that does happen. I've had it happen on a number of occasions over the years. I've got it happening currently, actually. So that does happen. where the court says, we're not quite ready to close this, we need to do something else. But I'd be interested to see in terms of Manfei. I'd be interested to know, just a little bit more before I draw a conclusion as to what your specific issue is going to be. But the reality is, I mean, in the simplest terms, the outcome of fact find can affect your relationship with your children. Full stop.
Yes. I just want to remind people again: fact finds are dangerous for fathers. They are best avoided at all costs. And if you do end up in a fact find, I would suggest get some support, get some help. Do not leave it to chance. Yeah. Get people to read over your statements, your questions, find a decent McKenzie, do some research. Don't just be blasé about it. Yeah. Because this is going to determine the relationship you may have with your child for the rest of your life. So don't leave it to chance, guys. While Mr. Manfei gets back to us, let's go back to Mr. S. I like the beans and eggs being thrown out.
You like the beans and eggs. You see, you're going on about pasta and rice. So, I've done beans and eggs. The guys like the beans and eggs. What can I say?
I have no beef with beans and eggs. I like beans and eggs, fish fingers.
You see, now you've introduced fish fingers. Now you're just starting to get a little bit odd.
I'm getting hungry. That's what I'm getting. Fancy a fry up now.
You see, now I'm talking you into dinner.
Well, funny you say that. Sometimes after these streams, because the problem is this. The other thing I want to touch on, because I live alone ultimately. When you're alone and you're a bloke, sometimes food can be an issue. But as I'm quite good at the fried eggs, the chili oil, fish fingers, air fry, warm up some beans. What else do I have with that? Yeah, I throw all that to a couple of waffles in the air fryer with that. I have fry-ups for dinner.
You are living the dream.
Very, very common, very normal. It's just easy. It's just easy, and I can manage it. I can cook it. It's there. Eggs, you got your protein, your cholesterol. Do you know what I mean? So ultimately, that's what I do. So look, I want to ask all the guys that had a question, the guys that are living on their own now, a genuine question. I want to know, if you can't answer it on this stream, please bring up some ideas on the next stream. What do you guys do for food, breakfast, dinner, lunch when you're living on your own? How do you guys get by? I genuinely want to know.
There you go. My little insight into my world. I have terrible eating habits, just horrendous. Claire, who is my personal assistant and my right hand, and ensures that I point in the right direction day after day, tells me that I am horrendous in terms of my eating habits. And if we use today as an example, and today is a very typical day, today I have had a packet of biscuits and about 19 cups of tea. No, that has been my day.
No, but see, you don't. Okay, when I've been at the office, you don't eat much generally. You have a light sort of snack, sort of lunch. You have a little nibble at a dinner. I bought some grilled chicken from London. Proper grilled chicken. Had a little nibble. It's about the chicken went in the bin. I'm like, you ain't cleaning it up like that. You just nibble it. You don't really eat. You're not an eater or something.
Hang on. Let me just correct you there. You didn't just bring a little bit of chicken. Farouk was up with me a couple of months ago, as he does often, to come and spend some time with us, and we work on stuff, as he'll be with us fairly shortly. But anyway, he came up. He brought with him 2 entire chickens. And then he handed me one. He handed me an entire chicken. I'm not quite sure what he was hoping I was going to do with it. But he handed me an entire chicken to sort of devour. So, I gave you a bit of chicken. It wasn't a bit of chicken. It was a whole... In fact, I think it was an ostrich.
Man needs his protein. Brother needs his protein. You know what I'm saying? Brothers are working out. You know what I'm saying? I went down there and I thought, you know what? There's no taking... Because obviously we're in bandit country. We're in the middle of farms and villages. There's no food. The fish and chip shop, I said, let's go get some fish and chips. Oh, he's closed. What? He only opens 3 hours a day. I mean, there's stuff like that going on, yeah? But let me go prepared. Let's take some quality, healthy food. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I roll. See, I'm always thinking of others.
I know. You're just such a giving individual. Giving individual.
Right. We have brave fathers. Right, welcome to the channel. We are here every Sunday at 8:30. Please tune in, like, subscribe, follow, and share. When it comes to fact finding, and in fact, the whole process, no matter how prepared you think you are, prepare some more. There you go, guys. This man has nailed it on the head. He is a brave father. He deserves that name. I rate him. Thank you. Tell him.
That is exactly right.
Mr. S, can you tell us some of the traps lay out the cross-examination for fact find? This is a good question. By barristers.
Yeah, by barristers. Yeah, I mean barristers. Barristers are looking to lead you. That there's a general premise in the world of cross-examination, which barristers live by. Well, most barristers, certainly that I have come across over the years, live by, which is never ask a question that you don't know the answer to. Because what you're looking to do is lead that party, be it dad or mum. You're looking to lead them on a journey where they ultimately back themselves into a corner and realize then that, oh, hang on a minute, I've just shot myself in the foot and I'm now starting to make admissions. So the secret and the whole issue of cross-examination is something that we could spend 2 hours on. But the secret of cross-examination is to constantly fight to own the initiative, which means don't be led, which means when they ask what we call multi-point questions. So it's a question where essentially they've asked you, can you just give me your opinion on 4 or 5 different things? The reason they do that is because they want you to trip yourself up. So there are secrets, there are little tricks like, can you just break that down for me? Can you just repeat that for me? Can you reword that for me? I didn't quite understand that. Can you just ask me again? Tell me what it is you need, what it is you're asking me. So it's about shutting down their
question.
Yes, shutting down their flow. Because if you break up their flow, then it's quite disruptive. But the whole issue of cross-examination is a world of its own. There are a whole series of tricks, traps, and trips. In it, we'll perhaps talk about it in a whole session at some point.
We have talked about it on previous sessions. We have previous full live streams that, if you go back, they have now been labeled fact finds, and this one sort of turned into a bit of a fact find as well. So yeah, go back, check them out, guys. We've covered all aspects and angles. There are over 70 live streams, along with podcasts on previously too. That, like I said, this has been going over 3.5 years now, guys, this channel. Yeah, and yes, fact find dangerous fathers. Break the flow, break the rhythm. And from what I'm getting, when they ask you a question, don't just get led. Start questioning the question and say to them, what do you exactly want? So like, just challenge them. Don't be scared to challenge them. Don't be a sheep, basically. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Mr. S, takeaway. So he does takeaway. Uber Eats, unfortunately. My oven chips and throat. Yeah, bro, I know the feeling. The question, those guys who are eating takeaway at Uber Eats, I want to ask you guys, like, what about the cost? Because these takeaway costs do build up every day, especially if you're eating 2 or 3 times a day. Do you know how many eating out? Canfe, right, here we go. He's come back. It's just about the non-mole. The trial arrangements are safe and working since April 2025. I'm getting bombarded with allegations of breaching order. I feel it's abuse of power at this point.
Okay, so going back to your original question, can the non-mole impact on your child arrangement? Yes, it can. So tread carefully, because if the other party, if the other parent can find sufficient grounds to suggest that there is enhanced risk as a result of the non-molestation, they can then ask for that to be reflected in your child arrangements. So tread carefully.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. This is Mr. Manfay. Non-mole. I don't know if you've had one before or not, but yes, tread very carefully. Get some help. Get some support. Get some advice. Don't leave it to chance. Yeah. Mr. DGS, why do we have cross-examinations at final hearing?
If we are heading towards a final hearing and we cannot agree prior to it what is going to happen, the court has no option but to stage what we refer to as a contested final hearing. That is where both parties have the opportunity to have their say. And they get their say using 2 mechanisms. One of them is cross-examination and one of them is submission. So cross-examination is where party A asks questions because they're obviously trying to get their point across from the responses that they're going to get from party B. And then party B, once they've answered all those questions, can then make a final submission, which is a detailed oral argument as to what point they are trying to make. So what the court is doing, the court uses oral evidence, i.e. cross-examination, in order to gain two things. One of them, fact, to try and gain from the perspective of the two people who are asking and answering the questions what actually went on here. But more importantly, and this really is more important, fact find is about the judge trying to get the measure of the credibility and the honesty of each party. So they're looking to see, did I find you credible with the way you answered your questions? Did I find you were forthcoming? Did I find you that you were happy to accept the fact that you were wrong about stuff? And if I saw that, then I find you quite credible as a human being. So that is really the purpose of the cross-examination at final hearing. It's so the judge can get a feel for the two parties in the room as to what they're like as human beings outside the quite artificial environment of court.
Right, Mr. DGS, hope that answers the question. Right, Brave Fathers has come up with a good suggestion here. Get a rice cooker. It makes things easy, but I love to cook. Right, I'm going to tell you guys what I have done in the meantime. I have got one meal that I eat every day, right, and I cook myself. It's taken a year to get here. Pasta, tuna, and I've got this sauce that I specifically use, and I know I have to put the chili and the garlic, cook it all in. 15-20 minute operation, fully cooked. Within 45 minutes, it's cooked, eaten, washed, everything put away. I have that every single day. Got your carbs, got your protein. Tuna, 65p a can, use half a can last 2 days. Pasta, 69p a pack. And the sauce I use, next week, I'll bring the jar, so I'll show you what sauce I use. So those fathers out there were on their own, struggling, navigating, you know, especially with the food stuff, it's difficult. I'll show you how I do this. I might even make a video on disqualified dads and say, this is a meal for a single man, single father, man living in the zone. It's just cheap, you know, nutritious, and it'll fill you up. Great value for money. That's what I'm going to do for you guys. And if anyone else has got any ideas with the food aspect, please, every week, bring up some ideas. It will help us out. We help each other. You know what? I've just thought about I was going to skip dinner, but I'm going to have some fish fingers and chicken nuggets tonight in the air fryer. Right.
Fish fingers and chicken nuggets.
It's all protein. It's all protein. It's healthy in the air fryer. They're not air fryer. Protein.
I haven't eaten yet either, so I'll probably just phone in some. I don't know, probably some lobster,
caviar,
some caviar.
Do they deliver that on Uber Eats caviar? Lobster,
yeah. Well, what I do is, there's a chef fairly locally. He'll come here and just cook for me. Doesn't matter what time I call him. He's on permanent call. He's part of my staff, you know.
Listen, there's going to be a time right here where I'm going to be on stream in the studio like this. We're going to be doing these live streams. Mr. Ryan will be in Bandit Country in a massive studio, massive office background. I will be in a massive studio. You'll see. You will see a lovely female coming to serve me dinner while I'm doing the stream and put all these steak, lobster, like you said, good food. Man, it's a matter of time. It's going to happen. I'm going to be living that high life. You might see me. I might be in a high rise somewhere in Dubai, Shanghai, Thailand. You'll see the view behind me. I'll be on the balcony doing the stream live, eating. Maybe multiple women around me serving me food. It's a matter of time. It's going to happen.
Not that we're being in the least bit misogynistic, but anyway. Yeah.
I mean, no, they will be my. Okay, there will be women serving me, but they will be my friends. They will be friends. That's the point.
They'll be friends, and they'll be very adequately paid for their services, and all of them will be on perfect contracts of employment, and not a single one of them will have any recourse to the Court of Human Rights.
That's illegal, bro. To pay for stuff like that's illegal. We don't pay for things like. Right, final question, guys. Final question. Hold on, we've got one more after this. What is the purpose of pre-trial hearing before fact find? Good question.
Right, pre-trial. Okay, what the pre-trial, the purpose of the pre-trial is very simple. It is to ensure that we are ready to actually undertake the fact find. So the judge wants to know that any witnesses that are going to be in place, who they are, where they are, what they're going to, how they're going to feature. Any evidence has been presented and is available to both sides. So the judge is just checking that all the building blocks are in place in order that the fact find can be effective. There are too many occasions where you get into the fact find and then you realize you're missing something, somebody challenges something, and the whole thing crashes, which is why they put in place PTRs, pre-trial reviews.
Right, guys, we've got a good suggestion here from Mr. Ian. Buy a Tesco simple salad and then put one can of a 4 or 5 pack of Princess tuna into it, and cut it up with scissors and add Tesco Mexican chili sauce. Eat for lunch or dinner. That's a great suggestion, guys. And that Princess tuna, the 4 or 5 pack, is about £2.35 in Tesco. 4 packs of tuna, great value for money. Tuna and spring water. So yeah, I'll go with that. Great value for money. There's only one problem, though, Mr. Ian. By looking at me, you may have gathered that I am from an ethnic background, and cold lunch, cold dinner is just not an ethnic thing, man. We like hot food, like as in warm, curry, hot, naan, rice, lamb biryani. I'm getting a bit hungry now, but we like hot food. Warm. So for lunch, I agree we could get away with that. You can't have a cold tuna salad for dinner, man. It's just unethnic and unethical. I think like you got to have a hot meal. But that's me anyway. But it's a great suggestion. Go on.
It's a good suggestion. I think there's nothing wrong with a cold salad. You could always put some chips with it, if you know, or some fish fingers. Put some fish fingers with it.
No, you don't.
You're continuing the seafood theme.
No, you don't put chips with it. You have a bag of Walker's ready salted, crisp. That's what you have. You have crisp with it.
Crisp. Oh, good Lord.
Right, hold on. This food team is really kicking on.
Hang on. We could be here all night.
No, last one. Just boil in the bag till the rice 12 minutes with some tuna. There you go. Look, rice and tuna. Look, there's a tuna theme here.
There is a tuna theme here.
That's what it is.
There is definitely a tuna theme here. You hum it, I'll sing it. There's definitely a tuna theme here.
Right, guys. Right, Mr. Ryan. Any final closing comments from yourself?
It's been an enjoyable stream this week, guys. We've been guys and ladies. I'm conscious that we have some ladies with us as well. So it's been an enjoyable stream this week because we have been quite light-hearted, and we did start with a very valid message, which obviously was to do with male victims of domestic abuse. And again, you know, we say hashtag reach out, don't check out. Absolutely, you know, take that comment as gospel. And also, again, we obviously did touch on you know, those who have sacrificed for us all, and we touched on them, and we have absolute respect for them on this special day, albeit that the Remembrance Day is actually the 11th of November, which is Tuesday, but today being Remembrance Sunday. So it's been a good stream. It's been a great stream. If you're in court this week, I trust it goes well. I'm in court, I think, almost every day this week. So I trust it goes well for you. Respect the court will respect you.
Yep, guys, keep battling, keep chipping away, keep your chins up, like, subscribe, follow, and share, and we will see you on the next one.